Hello everyone, James Gillum here, student at SDI. We're going to be in week 2 of FTH 2012-51914, which is a striker fire class. Today is March 31st, and we're going to be covering a couple of different topics from week 2, basically going over safety procedures to include functions checks. We're going to be checking the lengths of the barrel, and we're also going to be just kind of doing a little bit of an evaluation of twist rate and barrel length, as well as kind of getting an idea of how functions checks during cycle of operations work. First and foremost, we're going to make sure we have no live ammunition. Magazine is empty. Chamber and magazine and well are empty as well. Those are snaps. First, we're going to talk about the safety processes we're going to set up. More or less, some of these safety processes I plan on using are going to be, obviously, because of all the small springs involved in me wearing safety glasses, especially with this. They tend to fly all over the place. I have also got magnetized parts board, which I've picked up recently. This will help make sure that none of those parts go flying. I've also gotten myself a little magnetized wand to help chase them, flashlight as well. Other tools we're going to be using are going to be pliers, punches. I have a marker and cleaning rod, as well as a measuring tape for the other parts of what we're going to be doing today, so that we can do all the measurements and get everything accurately. As far as parts that might make things a bit more dangerous, I'm kind of worried about some of the punches smashing some of these smaller roll pins. A couple of other catch springs. I do have some safety wire set aside for this project, similar to how we did in the last class when we used when they told us to use paper clips. Same philosophy, being able to catch the springs and use them to keep them where I need them to be. So that's part of it. I believe I'm fully ready for this setup. I have all the tools I need. SDI provided me with mostly what I need, but I picked up a few other little things just through my time as being a gunsmith in the military, and things that I've come to rely on in the past. Different things like one thing I've learned has been to use like small bags, as well as using vices to free my hands up, which I have all readily available here at the shop. So using a completed firearm, we're going to go through functions check, and we're also going to talk about identifying the various steps in the cycle of fire. First and foremost, whenever we do a functions check, we are going to remove a magazine, and we're going to ensure that the firearm is clear. We did that earlier, but we're going to go ahead and do it again. Check the chamber, and we're going to check down in the magazine well. It's clear, which is part of the functions check. First part we're going to check is the safety of the trigger. So when you press it up here, you notice this pistol has been cocked. You press on the actual safety where it hasn't been engaged by the actual trigger itself. You notice it doesn't fire. When you engage down here on the trigger, which is part of the safety, push back, and it allows it to fire. So now that we have the trigger depressed, we're going to hold it, cycle the slide, and slowly release it. You can hear the serial reset, audible click. It has been reset. This is going to be part of the firing portion of cycle of operations, which is the actual trigger being engaged, the round being struck, and that starts everything off. So we have the click, racket, reset, and we have our break point right there as well. This is all going to be part of the cycling and chambering. So the actual slide moving back is going to be chambering the round, and then it's going to be fired. Now that we have it released, we're going to re-engage the trigger safety and make sure that it works, which it does. So that worked just out fine. We're then going to try the magazine, which would be part of feeding. We insert the magazine in there and see that it doesn't come out. It's locked in place like it should be. So feeding is accepted. With the magazine inserted, we're then going to pull back on the slide, which would be locking, portion of firing cycles of operation. So it's locked back to the rear. This would be preparing to accept the next round and eject the previous one, or in this case, an empty chamber. We can then release the slide, which would be chambering. And then we're going to check the disconnect. Push it slightly out of battery, and we'll squeeze. Notice nothing happens. And then lastly, with the slide being let back forward, squeeze the trigger, and then go back to our break point. And that's how you do a dry functions check. Now for part 2 of we're going to insert the firearm here into a nice little vise I've got to hold it steady, and then we're going to take our cleaning rod. We're going to run it into the barrel. Boom. We have the barrel marked. We're going to take a Sharpie. We are going to measure the barrel. We're going to make a mark right there. We have a mark. And we're going to take our handy dandy measuring tape from the bottom. to the mark, which says it's roughly about 4.5 inches. So when it comes to the third part of this, now that we know that we have a 4.5 inch barrel, going into the differences between twist rate and barrel length, the reason why is because for longer barrels, you're going to require more twist rate to get a proper spin throughout the full length of the barrel. That way you're getting your rounds to land on trajectory. Shorter barrels require less because there's not going to be as much to them. The spin is being completed. So such as the barrel that we had in the revolver class, it was much shorter than this. So therefore it would be, they only required a few revolutions. In the case of the PSA dagger with its 4.5 inch barrel, according to their manual, which I have right here, that they have 1 in 10 twist rate. So they've got roughly about 1 twist going through this barrel. So kind of a short barrel too.